Hello, welcome to After Dark. As usual, I am the first and only person here because that's always how this goes at the beginning of a show. Oh, Patrick is on the ball. Hello, Patrick. How are you?
Live, I'm eating a cracker.
Good job. Did I accidentally cut off your conversation with T at the end of the
No.
show?
No, we were switching over, but I didn't think we'd be live yet.
Yeah, I always send the links and then
I
just
know,
immediately
I
go
know.
live.
I'm just just after the dark stuff is just totally freaking out of control. I tell you.
Yeah. Sorry, I have people texting me wanting to know why I'm not answering the phone because I'm busy, fools. All right. After Dark. Oh, this has been such a day.
Is this one we're allowed to swear?
Yes, this is the one we're allowed to swear.
Okay.
That does not mean that you need to swear automatically. This is not an excuse to swear. This is you are allowed to swear.
Crap.
Damn it.
Can I talk about another YouTube show just for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm really impressed with the way the direction game night's going on. They're getting some cool stars and things.
I have never once watched it.
I watched it a little bit. If there's a game that I want to learn about, I don't mind watching that show. I enjoy them, the group, and they just got the girl. I can't remember the actress's name, and she was the vampire. She's a vampire character on the show we watched on HBO, True Blood. Is the latest one. So anyway, just it's kind of taken over that Geek and Sundry show with Wheaton. So
gotcha.
Kind of exciting.
I need to start watching it.
I'm not opposed to other people doing things.
I need to start watching it because I am a YouTube addict. YouTube is my primary form of entertainment. Like I watch way more YouTube than I do anything else. And so the idea that I haven't watched it is a little bit stupid on my end.
Well,
we can be off the rails on this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I have just been rewatching old television, and by old I mean like stuff from like late 90s, early aughts. I've been rewatching Leverage and Chuck.
Oh my God, Leverage is so freaking good.
Yeah, I just got Patrick started on Leverage too.
Leverage is amazing. One of the best.
It really is.
One of the best and most underrated shows maybe of all time. Like it's so freaking good. The characters are Age of the Geek, baby. I still say that. Like that's been a catchphrase of mine for years from that damn show. All the characters are good. That it's the guy, the hitter, the Christian
the guy with the ponytail.
Yeah.
We got Kane, right?
Christian Kane, right? That's his name. He was on Angel. He's a holdover from Angel, the spinoff from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he was one of the better characters on that show. But he was always he always played the same "look how hard and tough I am" guy. And so him getting to play that same character but have fun with it is amazing because and if you never watched Angel, your appreciation of his character will not be quite so much. But everybody that I know that ever watched Angel and Buffy adores him on Leverage because he's so good.
But you also have to love the fact that he doesn't have like that typical, like he wasn't like a beefy mafioso looking guy. He's like this smaller guy with the ponytail and like the
really likes to cook.
Yeah, and abhors guns. It was like, oh, not what I thought of when we're thinking like the strong man,
Yes. No, they did a really good. Well, and that's the thing about that show is that they did an excellent job choosing actors that are not stereotypes of whatever the role was they were supposed to be, right? Like they took all the stereotypes, kind of hucked them out the window and just did some really fun stuff with them. I adore that show. I haven't.
Yeah, the internet geek isn't like a scrawny white guy drinking Mountain Dew with glasses.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the cool guy. Yeah. He's like the arguably the coolest in the traditional sense of the word cool of everybody on that show. The cat burglar chick, I can never remember her name. She only has one name, and I remember that. But she's sort of antisocial and like, don't you almost get the idea that she's maybe a little bit on the autism spectrum while they're.
Yeah, I think that's intentional.
I 100% think it's intentional, but that's sort of my point, right? Like they didn't hypersexualize anybody on the show. They didn't lean into stereotypes. They just
Yeah, even the female grifter who was sexualized wasn't hypersexualized, and the character has a ton of depth.
They play her more as elegant rather than a sex bomb, which is a nice change of pace for that. That's what I mean.
They also casted an actress that was a few years older.
Yes.
That could get away with elegant and not 19-year-old.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just such a good show. It's such a good show. It's in my top 10 all-time favorite anythings on TV.
Amber Jen likes Leverage too.
So
I was watching an old show this weekend. So the young girl couldn't get a boyfriend, and so she was pretending to have a boyfriend and was having the operator call her house so she could answer the phone. But then Marcia figured it out they had a made up boyfriend. It was Brady Bunch. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we got you at Marcia, but yeah, that's what you get. You get dead air.
I get dead air.
We were having such an animated, interesting discussion about Leverage, and then you had to go and Brady Bunch bomb us.
I screwed up my Brady Bunch downloads my Leverage downloads, and I was waiting to get a couple more episodes from my supplier before I could.
I sent them to you too. It's not my fault you deleted them.
I am a dumbass. All right, what are we talking about? Are we doing a show? But we lost Bill. Bill's frozen, so we can talk about it. Can we talk about games at Origins?
Yeah, well, me and you are going to Origins. Let's talk about
Yeah. Well, the one thing we didn't talk about, like the number one thumbed game, I think we talked about things that don't sell, right? But the Century stuff is selling great. Oh, my nose. I get it, Paul. I get it now. Is the latest Century game, right? Which I'm sure you've played.
I have played the prototype version. I have played many prototype versions of it. As I'm local to Emerson.
Yes.
And I'll try and be vague-ish about this. There was one version that he was going for, and they decided that it was a little too heavy. It wasn't heavy, but it was just a little too much advanced from the first two, that they didn't want to make the audience make that leap in the Century series. Mm-hmm. So he's now taking that one and designing it as a different game, not as part of the Century series, which will also unshackle it from having to backwards integrate with the other ones.
Right.
Whereas the one that he did settle on not only has to be a solid game of itself, it also has to work with Century 2, Century 1, and Century 2+1. So that is just a hell of a tall order, and I did not envy how much Emerson had to do. Because the first one, he just had to make the first one work. And then the second one, he had to make that work, and then he had to also make it work with the first one. But the third one, which, there were a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things to get right, and it was just, and he had a tight schedule because they were releasing one a year at Origins, so it's not like he had unlimited time to do it. So he was crunched. So then he as soon as he finished that, he immediately grabbed the Metal Gear Solid project, and that's been that has some campaign elements, so he's had to do tons of scenarios for that, and so that's been a crazy one too. So
cool.
Yeah, he's been busy. I hope I didn't say too much. I don't think so. So
we'll edit all that out.
Edit it out of the live YouTube show.
Hey, Bill's coming back.
So yeah, for me, Origins is about demoing games, and it's because these are the games that are going to be around for the rest of the year. These are the games, and I'm demoing Seven Souls with Connor McGoey of Inside Up Games. I'm gonna demo Lockup, the role player universe game. I'm demoing The Few and the Cursed. Oh, I'm really excited. I'm getting to demo Plaid Hat's Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein.
Yep.
I like Plaid Hat stuff just in general. their competitive stuff. I'm not a huge co-op person, as most all of you know at this point, but I'm very much looking forward to that. And demoing Oceans, which was on Kickstarter, and In the Hall of the Mountain King. So like these are all games that are going to be floating around Origins, either at booths or with designers that are there or with publishers that are there.
Mhm.
So it's just such a great chance to try before you buy.
Yeah.
You know, which is, I mean, yeah, I could, you know, people come home with that big like the obligatory haul post
Yes.
of like 20 games. I don't like doing it. It just seems it's first of all I fly, so it's hard to just bring that much stuff home. And second of all, it's just like it just becomes like a hassle to try and so I would much rather and then I don't want to being disappointed in a lot of them. So I would much rather just I'm gonna be there for 4 or 5 days, whatever. Just play so many of them there, and then I'll buy one or two that I love, you know.
So
Later.
sorry if this got covered while my internet went apeshit. At least it lasted for the main show. I'm excited that it made it through the main show before I had to revert to tethering to my freaking iPhone. The only thing that I will say about shopping at conventions specifically is that I always have like 2 or 3 games in my head that I really desperately want right now. And at any convention, those are the 2 or 3 that I buy, but I never do this whole haul thing because I don't spend that much money at conventions. I buy like 2 or 3 games and I play the shit out of the 2 or 3 that I buy, right? Like when Alchemists came out at BGG, I had CGE packed like 25 copies in their personal luggage so that way they could get something there because their shipment went nuts. I stood in line for stupid long periods of time so I could get one of those 25 copies, walked over to a table, punched it, and then taught it for 3 days. Like that's legit what I did. When Terraforming Mars first came out, I got my copy. I got my vacuum formed things from Game Trace for it. I walked over to a table and I taught it for 3 days. Like that's when it comes to shopping at conventions, that's typically how mine go. I have like 1 or 2 games that I'm really jazzed about. I buy them as soon as humanly possible, and then I play the crap out of them and teach them to as many humans as I can. So like, I don't understand people that buy 50 games at conventions because that just seems super wasteful to me. Like nobody has time to play all them games anyway, right? Like buy them in 6 months. Well, but I'm saying you're going to buy the games fine, but buy them in a couple months when you can get them, you know what I mean? Shipped to you for the price of free more often than not.
Yeah. I mean, there's
or
no
buy them from your friendly local game store.
I mean, if you can afford it, there's no wrong way to do it.
No. You do you, man. Like however you want to spend your money. I'm not talking about that.
I mean,
for me, it seems
I agree. I would buy too many things at Gen Con or Origins in the past, and then the next year have games that I've not played.
But some people just like to have the option to be able to play them ASAP.
Yes.
Or some people will, after a convention, go home and have like a little mini weekend where they'll then show all their friends that didn't get to go the hot games. And I mean, I don't do that. I'm lucky if I get to play 1 or 2 games a week. So
let me be really clear. My little mini rant right there was not trying to shame anybody that does that stuff. It's just not for me. I'm not saying that it's that people are stupid. You're dumb if you do that. I'm not in any way trying to suggest that. I'm just saying for me, I would much rather buy 2 or 3 games that I'm super passionate about and play the crap out of them than I would buy 50 games at a convention, have to figure out the logistics of getting them all home, and then be sad while I sit and watch 3/4 of them not get played for 2 months when I could have just waited 2 months and bought them and have them shipped and I didn't have to deal with any of that other shit. That's just me though. I don't know. Like everybody do what you want, man. That's the beautiful thing about luxury hobbies like this. And because let's face it, this is a luxury hobby. Not one of us needs this, right?
No.
Well, except for maybe me come January. Teaser. Sorry. That is an inside joke.
Whatever floats your boat, Bill.
Well played, sir. Well played. Yeah, no, whatever you want to do is all you. Go for it. Whatever makes you happy about this hobby, I fully support. As long as you're having a good time, that's all that matters. For me, I would, let's say I had $500. Actually, here's a cool thought experiment. You have $500 in expendable income when you get to a convention. What are you going to do with it?
Eat well.
Yes, thank you. That is exactly what I was going to say. I would much rather drop a couple $100 on a really amazing meal at a killer restaurant that I'll never get to go to again. You know what I mean? And like go with 3 or 4 friends and sit and have a bottle of really expensive wine, or, you know, get a flight of really cool scotches to try or something like that. I would much rather do that than buy 5 games at this convention that I know I'm never going to get a chance to play.
And let me say, there's always 1 or 2 days at a convention where I wind up just eating like the local cafeteria chicken
Hot
fingers.
dogs.
Yeah. And then, you know, it just does bad things to your stomach.
Yes.
And you are just not setting yourself up for the marathon and the success of having a good, you know, few days if you're going to put garbage in, garbage out, basically.
Yes. Oh my
And
God.
It's also nice. And this has become something that I've enjoyed doing more as I've gotten more comfortable knowing more people at conventions, is stepping away from a convention and going to get a meal with people where you're not playing a game and you're just chatting with people. Because my wife does not understand this at all, but you can sit down and play a 3-hour game with like 4 people, right? And not say a single word that doesn't relate to the game. And there'll be discussion the whole time, but then my wife would be like, "Oh, you just saw your friend. How are they doing?" Fuck if I know.
No idea. We didn't talk about anything except how
I don't know. He still has all his fingers.
The...
You know, he's breathing. You know, and she's just like, "Well, they just had a baby," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, he didn't bring them."
That's how we can tell.
So that's what like.
That is the difference between you and your wife in one conversation right there.
So then going to get a meal with people and not you know being hyper focused on a board and a strategy and cards and, you know, odds and getting to talk to people is real nice. The last Granite Game Summit, Patrick and I got to go to a Brazilian barbecue place with Chris and his wife from Game All Night, and it was just super nice to step away and do that.
Right.
All I'm going to say, well, first order business is that games and the people who play them may be a tagline, but it is also a really good way to look at this hobby in general, right? Like, it's all well and good to play awesome games. It is even better to meet amazing people, which leads me to the second thing I want to say, which is that the people that are co-hosts on this channel are not just people whose opinions I respect and value in the board gaming industry. Actually, more specifically, they are people that I enjoy talking to at great length about stuff. And I think that is worth more than any level of gamer cred that you can possibly get, right? Like, spend time with cool people, like play awesome games too, but spend time with cool people and make a point of doing that. Like, make it a point that I don't care. Like, here's a great example. BGG a couple years ago, Patrick and I played Glory to Rome. Glory to Rome is one of Patrick's favorite games. I could care less if I ever play that game again. I don't hate it. I don't hate the game. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not, I don't derive fun from it. Like, it does not, what's the phrase that was going around? It doesn't spark joy. What's the?
Yeah, no, you got it.
Yeah, that's the one. It does not spark joy in me, but hanging out with my friend Patrick absolutely does spark joy with me. I could get, like, I don't give a shit what game we're playing. You're playing it with cool people. It's going to be fun. And that lesson, Chaz Marler is actually the one that taught me that. You can play a terrible game, but if you play it with cool people, it's fun anyway. Same kind of deal. Not that Glory to Rome is a terrible game,
Patrick, but that goes into playing all those retro nostalgia games. Like, sure. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Bill. I played the Magnificent Race with Patrick. It's objectively a terrible game.
It is horrible.
A hell of a lot of fun to play because it has table presence and it's goofy as hell, you know. And everyone gets into it because it's such a kitschy thing, and that's where the people come in. Here's what I'm going to say.
I played that Vegas game with Eric, and that was horrible.
That Vegas game? What Vegas game?
Lords of Vegas.
Las Vegas. Oh. No, not Lords of Vegas.
No, you said the horrible one. Las Vegas is great.
Yeah, the horrible one. I know.
Yeah, we played both Las Vegas and Lords of Vegas, and we have
Lords of
very
Vegas.
different
Yeah, we get them
opinions
confused
on which one is better.
I have still never played Lords of Vegas, which is weird because I worked for that
The
company
next
for a long
time I
time.
see you, I'll just kick you in the balls repeatedly for an hour, and instead of playing it, and you'll have had the same experience.
Cranky old man. Old man Buscemi over there says it's not a good game. I have a lot of people that really like that
it
game.
is a good game. My
just
first
me.
play, I just got
he had a
piled.
very bad.
on.
He got a very bad play.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, for the record, I'm going to be waist deep in kitsch. I have a feeling at BGG Con this year because I'm rooming with one Patrick Hillier, and I expect to be not dragged, but passively convinced to play a lot of really bad games off and on over the entirety of the weekend.
Oh my God, BGG is even better, man.
I know, that's what I'm
some
saying. I know how crappy some of the games. The one
Mason's like, go get some of your weird games out of the library because that one's
my
killer
God,
for getting some weird games.
By the way, speaking of weird games, have you played Mag-O-Mag yet? Have either one of you played this? Holy crap.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Jesus, it's amazing. First off, it's a Klaus Teuber game with a vertical magnetic board. So the idea, there have been a couple games that have used this mechanic. I've talked about Fluke der Mumie on the show a bunch. That's my favorite. This one is a close second.
You just like saying that.
I see it.
Fluke der Mumie? Yes, I do like saying Fluke der Mumie, damn it. But Mag-O-Mag is almost as much fun to say. It is one person has a steering wheel with a magnet on their side and they can't see the map. The other person has an indicator magnet that is magnetized through the board that shows them where the steering wheel is, and they can see the map. And then there are 3 games in that box. I played 2 of them. I played a racing game where you literally have to race around a track that has ditches on both sides of the track. So if you go off the track, you fall off. That was pretty cool, but mostly impossible. And then we played golf. There's a golf game on there where you literally like move the magnet and you might go into a sand trap or a pond, and that would be a ditch. And then you have to take it out and you add a stroke. It's amazing.
Have you played Pyramid of Penguin?
That is what Fluke der Mumie is. It's a Pyramid Penguin is a re-implementation of Fluke der Mumie. Yeah. That is the same game. And I have not, or it's at least
it's in the same family.
It's based on the same game, yes. And I have played Fluke der Mumie a lot because I love that game. Matter of fact, I check it out every time I go to a convention that has a good game library. I go check it out and then I convince a few people to play it with me because it's always fun. Like there's no way to not have a good time playing that game.
Speaking of crazy games, on the other day on Twitter, I saw a game that uses kinetic sand. Do you know what kinetic sand is? I know I have kids. So all right. So y'all know what kinetic sand. So you build a kinetic sand pyramid, and then in the middle of the pyramid, you put a little statue.
Yeah.
And then you have to like use it like a putty knife to like take pieces of the sand off and make your own little monuments on your own little player board. But if you take so much sand that you knock the pyramid, the little statue at the top of the pyramid over, I think you lose. Now I say I think, and what this is what appears to be happening because the game is Japanese, and all I saw was a little GIF of someone playing. But I'm gonna find it. Give me 2 seconds. I'll put it in the chat room for everyone because I saw this and I'm like, well, I guess I have to go to Tokyo now.
There you go. Can I just say, by the way, that I want there is $1 million idea waiting to happen, and I'm seriously considering like talking to some friends that are in the sign making business, and I would like to actually do this because I feel like everybody would buy them. I would like to have one of those accident counters like they have in factories where it's been this many days since an accident, but have it say since a rule got screwed up or since a rules mistake was made or something like that. And I feel like you could sell a lot of those to gamers. I'm just throwing that out there. I want that sign to be a real thing.
Yeah, there it is.
Wait, is there that thing? Or are you still looking at
the video that
I posted the little GIF of the game.
Oh, I got all excited for a second. I'm like, wait, does that sign exist? Because I definitely want it. All right. We will be.
I,
Excuse
Bill,
us while we.
I gotta be honest with you, Bill. I am not sure. I cannot say with 100% certainty I have ever played any game
Where you
with
got all the rules right?
correctly. Ever.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my God, this looks
and
ridiculous.
if you want proof of that, look at people are arguing over multiple different things about Uno online.
Yes.
The whole game has like 4 rules,
Yeah.
and people can't even agree how they work. And so if a game that simple, no one ever plays right, I don't think there's any hope that there's any.
Well, okay, so here is the deal. When you are learning a game, you are expected to screw some shit up, right? Like everybody screws some rules up when they're learning a game for the first time. The problem is some of us never stop learning games.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Right? Like, and so you never get to the point like in grandma and grandpa's day when they would open up the hallway closet and you'd look on the top shelf of the hallway closet because that's where the 6 board games that they owned were. You know what I mean? And you looked at those and you're like, well, we have Yahtzee, Boggle, Scrabble, Monopoly, Life, and Sorry. Which one do you want to play? Odds were really good that you had played all 6 of those at some point in your life, and all you had to do was basically refresh yourself on the rules real quick before you were up and running.
And then you just had to modify them for the pieces that were actually in the box.
Yes. And then you had to go steal a toothpick because the candlestick got lost from your copy of Clue 4 years ago. Yeah, exactly. And you get somebody's old shoelace for the rope. Yeah, absolutely. But by way of comparison, how many games was it that Origins has, quote unquote,
272. Well, 272 to demo.
Okay, so there's 272 games at a convention where we said on the main show is not a big release convention. Of course, we're always learning.
No, that is the demos. So that those are the same 272 games that are gonna get released at Gen Con.
Okay, fair. But my point is,
I hear you.
Like, we have to go a little easier on ourselves because I get really upset with myself. Like, just in general, I get upset with myself when I make mistakes about things, right? I'm a perfectionist by nature, and I get mad when I screw things up. But when I'm teaching a game to somebody and I get a rule wrong, I taught Welcome to probably 4 times before I realized that I had been playing the Beast rule wrong. The one where you can write down the same number next to another house. I had been getting that wrong for the time that I was taught it and like 4 more times.
All right. So here's my thing about getting rules wrong. You can get a rule wrong that has no effect on the game whatsoever. Like, for example, like instead of playing counterclockwise, you play clockwise. Like, yeah, the rules say one thing, you did it another way, but it made no effect. I don't get mad at those because, hey, whatever, idiosyncratic. Right. Then there's rules where it's like, oh, on any turn you could do this, but you didn't. You skipped that rule, right? But you played the game correctly.
Right. You just didn't have all the options
available. Just happened to play a game where no one chose to wipe the biro out because you didn't tell anyone they could. But you actually got the experience of the game. And then there's the ones that bother me. It's when it's like you thought it was an and, but it was an or, and you really all played something totally wonked that that isn't a type of experience that the designer intended. That's where those still grind my gears.
I just get mad at myself for making any of those 3 mistakes, whether they significantly impacted the game or not, because in my group, I'm the quote unquote, hang on. I would like to emphasize how huge, I'm going to get my fingers real near the screen so you can see the big ass air quotes I'm about to do here. Professional gamer in the group,
wow,
right?
Those are some sausage fingers.
I know, right? It's like knockwurst. It's terrible. Anyway, but no, like legit, I'm the one that everybody expects to get the rules right every time. So it makes me insane when I get something wrong.
But let's be honest, sometimes it's the rules' fault too.
Well,
that's another conversation for another day. But
yeah, well, we've had everybody has gotten Cubist bingo so many times at this point because of the same things that we're always mad about. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's definitely part of it as well. It's just, I don't know. It just makes me crazy. So I'm telling you, number of days since the last rule mistake sign, make it happen. You will become 100 air in a matter of no time. I will buy your first 2 of them. I'm telling you. So I don't know. I am so excited for BGG this year. I know that it's 5 months away, and it's stupid that I'm even thinking about it now because it's so far in the future. But I missed it last year, and
I mean,
God, I
that's
was
not
sad.
a week after Origins. I'll be excited for PAX U. I mean, because it'll be the next thing I get to do. Like it's the next break in the otherwise monotony of my day to day.
The soul crushing monotony of my sad existence. Yeah, I know. First off, the rules master. Okay, I'll take that. That's fine. Yeah. We used to call it what do we call it? It was the board master. You know how every once in a while you get a guy in your group, and it's always a guy. That's why I say it that way. It's always a dude. And unfortunately, I'm usually that guy that feels like they have to manipulate all of the pieces for everybody. So like they have to hand you everything, and they have to put things, and they have to make sure that everything is perfectly stacked and whatever. That person, yes. That's the same sort. That is also me. So sorry about that ahead of time. I don't know. I just love that stuff.
Depending on what it is, sometimes that's super helpful depending on what it is and depending on the game. Like I played Spirit Island with Jamie Maltman, and Jamie knew how to play and I didn't, and he did all the board manipulation for the AI. And that was
that's different.
That was an absolute blessing. No, I mean he could have walked it, but and that made the experience better. Sure. But if we're playing a cooperative game and you're touching my piece, you're going to lose your fingers. Also, this is another reason I don't like. No, because when people are like, "Oh, you should go here," and then they move your pawn, like in Pandemic, like, "Oh, you should go here and cure this," and then they move your pawn there, and I'm like, "Okay, now I'm not going to go there, and now we're going to lose because you told me what to do, and I'm a stubborn, obstinate person. Can we play something competitive now?"
I was just going to say, I feel like you're burying the lead, which is that playing a cooperative game with you, I'm already running the risk of getting shanked in the neck as it is, just because you don't like cooperative games.
But this is why I don't like them, is because people
are douche canoes,
and people will take your pieces and people will tell you what to do. And then it's like, I'm just going to go make a snack and you can just finish this yourself.
So I'm gonna go have a nip. You have fun playing my game for me. There you go. Yeah, no, I get that. Yes, I do want you to teach Mongolian goat rodeo. If for no other reason than I want to be able to go on social media and say I'm playing Mongolian goat rodeo and watch my non-gamer friends be like, "I'm sorry, is that legal in Texas?
Is this a real thing?"
Yes, it's real. Chad, do you want me to send you a link? Do you want to get on here and talk about this yet again? It wouldn't be the first time.
I want Chad to teach me Ginkopolis.
Oh, I will teach you Ginkopolis. I adore that game.
Chad to teach me Ginkopolis.
You know how to play
Ginkopolis.
Has Chad opened his copy of Ginkopolis yet?
Oh, that's why. That's right. Because he's being a jerk and keeping a copy in shrink, isn't he? That's right. I feel like we should have
shrink.
Huh?
It's in
shrink, right?
Shrink.
Yeah. That's just wrong. That's wrong. I'm working on check a second here. I'm trying to get the link up. Yeah, I just for the record, alpha gamers or quarterbacks or whatever you want to call them in cooperative games are the reason that a lot of people don't like cooperative games. Just straight up. If you are that person, play it solo. Like, let people do stupid shit. No, I'm serious. Like,
No, I'm with you.
If you care,
this is why I was just smirking because like this is why I play exit games solo.
Yes, I play I don't play the exit solo. I play the unlock solo. The exits I want other humans with because I want to be able to hand a pair of scissors to somebody and be like, look, can you cut this crap up while I'm staring at this? Or I want to be able to cut crap up while they're staring at a puzzle that I don't get. Right. But the unlock games, I just want to sit down and dick around with the cards. And I think it's great. To me, they're two different experiences. Yes, Mongolian Goat Rodeo is a real game. And you know what, Patrick? I have officially decided you're playing this at BGG. I'm going to drag you. You absolutely are. This is for sure going to happen. I would really like to have, like, I can't make the official announcement yet, but I can say to those of you that are bothering to stick around for After Dark, that my life is about to take a pretty hard left turn in a good way. and I'm hoping that it will free up my schedule for some more interesting crap moving forward. I think my schedule is about to get a lot different starting next year. So I'm really I'm hoping, like, for instance, that I can start going back to Gen Con and Origins. I think that would be wonderful. I miss going to the big conventions and seeing all the peoples. I don't ever get to see that stuff anymore, and it makes me sad. So, biggest thing, is there one game, Patrick, that you are super looking forward to at Origins?
Now that Tiffany's gone, I could probably talk about it without feeling like a show. I pre-ordered Snail Sprint. It's a Hobbit game.
Is that the one with the metal box?
It has a metal box, and the snails go around the perimeter. I always buy a Hobbit game because I am a sucker for stupid kids games, and because I am a 12-year-old. Give me a little bit of credit.
Speaking of which, where's your hat?
I don't know. My
You tweeted that you were going to look for your damn hat.
All right. Cubist,
no. I don't want you to leave the show for your hat. I just want to know why you lied to the audience. Because
I didn't. The transition was so fast.
It's my fault.
Yes,
that's fine. It can be my fault.
Let's see. Cool. I got my list up here. I'm buying that. I want to check out.
Well, you
Daniel's
pre-ordered
game.
that, so you already.
I haven't I didn't. I haven't looked at. I did not kickstart Daniel's game. I wanted to see it first yet.
Which one?
I'm going to check out Lantern. Yeah,
I did kickstart that one.
Okay, Lantern's Dice. I just needed to see if it's different enough. Cindy really likes lanterns.
I need to play that game more. I need to play that with other human beings more. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I want to check what this submarine game's all about.
Oh, U-Boot.
Yes.
Can we? Now I am going to make you leave the show so you can go get your fucking hat. That was terrible.
I thought that was great.
I am about to log off, so I will tell you the few things I'm super excited about.
Please do.
I already
your daughter is hovering. You're being photobombed.
That's why she says she loves being on the internet. By the way,
hi.
You can wave.
Hi.
There you go.
There you go.
I think you were off the air with your internet problems, but I mentioned Abomination: The Heir of Frankenstein, which is coming out from Plaid Hat. I'm super excited about that.
I heard that.
I am also very excited about Rival Networks, which is the 2-player networks game from Gilhova. It's like a dual.
Okay.
A dual version of that.
Okay.
I'm also excited for In the Hall of the Mountain King, which I believe is from Sen and Jay. It's at least Sen, but I'm not sure if it's the full bamboozle or just half a boozle there.
Okay.
That's Bird's Island.
I am super, super excited to play
It's by Jay Cormier.
Oh, I had the wrong
somebody else.
I had the wrong boozle.
So it's half a bam.
Wrong boozle. And somebody named Grammy Johns. I don't even know who that is.
Die Tavernen von Tiefeltofen.
Bless you.
Yeah, it is the same designer of Quacksalber, Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah,
and it's you're running a tavern. I played it with someone around here that had imported it, and Chris Kopak said he's bringing it, so I'm gonna hunt him down. I very much want to play it again because I loved my first play of it.
Very cool, man. I tell you what, Quacks is one of those games that I did not have high expectations for, and I fell hopelessly in love with that game when I played.
I feel the same way as you, Bill, because I was like, "Oh, a push your luck game." Oh,
here's a personal goal for Origins, Eric. I want to play Quacks with somebody who's played it, so we can flip the cards over. And
oh my god,
different.
Can I just say that the list of games on my shelf that I just want to fucking play with a person I don't have to teach it to is like 3/4 of my collection.
Yes.
I'm so I don't mind teaching games, but Jesus, would it be nice to be able to play with alternate setups for things every once in a while?
Yeah.
See, I don't like.
I mean, I don't mind teaching. I love teaching. I love teaching games, but just I never get over that hump of getting to the next level because we always are playing the entry level. There's always some new guy that shows up to game night, and we're like, oh, well, I guess we got to play the entry level because
my
new version.
My copy of Alchemists, my favorite game from the year that it was released. So I want to say it was 2014, 2015, something like that. My copy has the expansion still unplayed in it. It has not. I've had that expansion now in that box for at least 2.5 years.
Oh, buddy, I almost that is the sad story of almost every expansion I've ever bought.
That's my point. Like, why in the hell are we buying expansions for games we can't get to the goddamn table in the first place?
What's wishful thinking?
Yeah. Hope springs eternal.
Aspirational. They're aspirational purchases.
Yes. If I had if I could just claw back the money I have spent on stuff I have never gotten to the table, I would probably be able to take a reasonably nice vacation. Like just like not super luxe, right? Like I wouldn't be eating caviar and drinking the finest wines, but I could probably have a solid week of relaxation just off of the money I've spent on games and game parts I never get to play.
On that note, gentlemen, I'm gonna call it a night because I gotta put this one to bed. It's 11:20 here, and
what the heck are your kids doing up this late?
Eric
she is a vampire.
Eric Buscamemi, because Kimberly didn't make it. Thank you for joining us, sir.
My pleasure.
See you, buddy.
Always great talking to you guys. Later. And look,
you didn't swear nearly enough, but that's all right. We replaced you with a Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Hello.
Hey, Chad.
All right, Chad.
How's it hanging? Oh, we can't hear him again.
Chad has no sound. Chad is number one.
1 minute.
Chad, you're number one. All right.
Is this working?
There he is.
There you go. Hi.
I promise I'll work on it this week, next week, because this is the old stream room. So I'll get the lights fixed and the microphone working so I can take that off.
Just so we're clear, Chad, we're going to start dragging you onto the show regularly if you keep this up. I'm just saying. You might want to get this shit figured out so that way we can pull you on every week.
I will work on it. I will work on it this week, and I swear I'll have it ready by next week. So.
Perfect. Chad,
yes.
if you were able to claw back all the money you've spent on games you've never gotten to play or expansions you've never gotten to play, how awesome of a vacation could you take?
It'd be like, going to Fiji or something like that.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I feel like I could probably have a good week up in Wisconsin Dells, but that'd be about the best. I don't think I have Fiji levels of money.
Probably.
But you buy way more than I do. We were talking on the show about how the haul picks are a thing that I would never do. And then I remembered that my friend Chad Roberts takes haul picks. Yeah. All the time when you go to conventions.
Yeah.
You always come home with like a bed full of games.
Yeah. This year at BGG, we did not. Actually, I've noticed in the spring we have bought less and less. Like I remember going to BGG spring either last year or the year before, came back with one game.
That's not bad.
But it was like the original copy of Diamant that I happened to have found. So it was one of those things that for some reason in the spring, I think it's because once you've reached there's an analogy that they talk about in any sort of hobby that you spend X amount of money to get imagine, getting anything from a percentage from 1 to 100, right? And you spend you can spend X amount of money in a hobby to get to like 80 or 90, right? And then the majority of the money you spend gets you from 80 or 90 to 100, right? Just to get those things to flesh out stuff and all that stuff. So I'd say, once you get to a point, you can't really go to a con and bring a lot of stuff home because you have a lot of it. And so you're just getting those niche things like those weird esoteric Japanese games or stuff like that. So once there's sort of a leveling off point. And like this year, we came home with a copy of Andor and the expansion, and I got a copy of this from the rummage sale.
Is it as good as Mongolian Goat Rodeo?
No. So this is This came out at like Essen a couple of years ago. It kind of went under the radar.
It definitely went under the radar.
Yeah, it's a push your luck racing game. I don't know if you can see that picture okay.
Yep, I can see it.
So you're playing lions that are escaping from a zoo.
As you do.
And yeah, as one does, as a lion does. And then the thing is, apparently the lions don't want to run out of the zoo themselves, so they get in the carts and they have different sorts of animals that run them out of the zoo. And as you move along the spaces here, you can see on the board there's colored spaces as you move along. Each colored space that you move along is associated to one of these dice, and the dice are not standard 1 to 6 dice. And so one die may be heavily weighted on the 6s, and so on and so forth. So you can say, hey, I want to move 4 spaces along the track. You'll grab the color of dice as you move along the track. So maybe I may get a green and a white and a brown and a whatever, and then you'll roll that number. Well, on the corner of the card, the animal has an associated number, and if you bust, you only move 1 space. If you don't, you move that many spaces you pull dice for. And then as you hit marks along the track, that animal exhausts and you have to get another animal, and it's basically a race. And so basically you're doing push your luck mechanic all through the game, but in different stages. And so it's a really neat little game, and I got it for like $5. So nice. I've enjoyed the squad out of that. So yeah,
I bought an entire, I'm going to take the focus off you so we don't just there. Sorry about that. I bought an entire order from Miniature Market from their clearance section.
Oh yeah.
About a week ago. And I was astonished at how good the games in their clearance section were right now. Yeah. Like I talked about it a little bit last week, but I got 2 of them to the table over the span of the week since I got the order. I got Mag-O-Mag to the table, which we talked about on the other show. And then I got Looney Quest.
Looney Quest is amazing.
They're both so good. Both of those games are excellent.
Looney Quest is kind of like one of those games that, like, the amount of alcohol you've been taking over the day actually amplifies the fun level.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would argue that Mag-O-Mag is the same way, or any of those magnet-driven games. I think anything like that. The golf one, especially, as we were playing and we got more and more comfortable with how the thing worked, got more and more ridiculous just because of the way that it works. I cannot recommend that enough.
And if you keep your eyes peeled on like the secondary markets, like at BGG or something, for really, really cheap, you can get the European version of Looney Quest. It's got a little bit of different maps and the expansion, and you can usually get those really, really cheap, and you have like all 3 of them, because Doris was a huge fan and she ended up collecting all of them, because there was Looney Quest, Doodle Quest, and then I think a Doodle Quest expansion where you put this weird pyramid and you had to like doodle while going through the pyramid. It's really strange.
The Doodle Quest, I had played Doodle Quest first a long, long time ago. And it does some stuff that's a little bit more than Looney Quest. The best way that I know to describe it is Looney Quest is like the basic game. Doodle Quest is like Looney Quest advanced. I don't know. It's the same game, but just with more crap. Like you might have to draw left-handed, or you might have to draw with a weird pattern on the board behind it so that way you can't see real clearly, or you might have to do this or whatever. That it basically just adds like extra physical challenges into it. But other than that, Looney Quest is a solid game. And for like $8, it is money well spent. I don't care who you are. Like, there is no doubt that you're going to get your $8 a mileage out of that.
Yeah. And that's something you can take with you to
everywhere. Take it to everywhere. Ditto. I would argue that Mag-O-Mag is the same thing. Like, that's another game that you can absolutely take anywhere and just have a good time.
And that is a game. Mag-O-Mag is a game that just entirely went under the radar when it was first released. It just got washed out by so many con releases, right? So,
well, hang on. I think I would just like to point out that I think that's the first time that a guest on the show has filled in a Cubist bingo square without us having to trigger it. The number of releases square. Yes, you do need to spend more money. Look, here's the deal. All right. If we are going to continue having content, and we're doing it for the content because we're influencers. Hang on. I'm going to try and see how many shitty buzzwords I can sneak into this one sentence here. If we influencers and content creators are going to continue driving this burgeoning market, then you all have to keep spending money. That's how that works. Otherwise,
just if Paul's still out there, you need to pick this up. It's out on the market.
I need that one.
Get that. It is really, really good. I've got to play it last fall, and I finally bought a copy this spring.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
This one. It's really, really good.
Is Knock Mall the other one kind of like it?
Knock Mall is a little bit different. So as you fill in the squares and bricks, you're going up, and then there are it's Tetris pattern style. Yeah.
Okay.
With Knock Mall, it's a score pad, and there's a central column.
Yeah.
And you have to build outwards, and everything's predetermined. Like the shapes and the colors are predetermined, and what's the variance is what you roll on the dice and the utilization of how you use the wilds.
Yep.
I think really Knock Mall is bricks is a little more accessible, but not by a great quantity than Knock Mall. Knock Mall can get pretty nasty. Like you can force opponents into doing all kinds of weird stuff with Knock Mall.
I absolutely loved Knock Mall when I played it for the first time. Absolutely adore that game. And there's like 8 different pads that you can get for that one too.
There are 7.
Okay. That's like 8. That's what I said. Damn it.
Well, yeah. So the only reason I know that is like that. What is that Slumdog Millionaire where he refers back to an analogy? So earlier this year, Chris Ray and I went to Canada, and he got what he thought was all of the Knock Mall expansions because Board Game Bliss keeps a wide variety of imports. Right? So he goes, "Hey, wouldn't it be great if we just did like Grandma Bingo and put all 6 Knock Mall boards out and played it as one giant game?" So
shit, that sounds like a terrible idea.
we played so that one game of Knock Mall, and Chris can verify, took about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Oh, that's not terrible. I thought it was going to be way worse than that.
And what we thought was a complete, and then somebody walked by, "Oh, you don't have the pink one that was only released in Europe." And so that was the 7th one.
So your number of days with rules counter got knocked back to 0 right in the middle of the game, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Outstanding. Damn it. All right. So while Ambergen is busy spending tons of money on Miniature Market, I'm just going to point out a couple other ones that I was able to get there. I have not had a chance to play anything else that I'm about to talk about, but I got Via Nebula by Martin Wallace.
That's really, really good.
Yeah, and that's in the claims. And I'm a Martin Wallace fanboy. Let's just full disclosure. I have never played one of his games that I didn't enjoy in some way or another. Not all of them are perfect.
It's kind of like Brass Light in a way.
That's a good thing. To me, that's a good thing because I love Brass, but man, is that a tough game to teach too.
Yeah.
Right.
So, in Brass where, once you've built the tracks are quote unquote community tracks. Like I could use Bill's tracks to take goods to the town. Via Nebula operates on the same principle, or it teaches that mechanic, but in a non, it's very fantasy sort of base.
Yep.
It uses that mechanic pretty well, and it's a good way to introduce it in like a shorter time frame.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get that one to the table someday.
It's a really good game. I
say someday because my schedule's been stupid and I haven't had a real game day that didn't just involve me. Or I also have been sucked into a Betrayal Legacy campaign.
Oh,
yeah, I'm 2 games in.
We're trying to get the Werewolf Legacy campaign going here, but
yeah. Man, oh man, do I want to play that so bad. I played Werewolf Legacy actually at Chris Ray's Essen thing right after Essen last year. He had a little convention thing in Missouri that I went to, and I got to play it there. And I already like werewolves, so like I'm an easy mark for this game. But man, I wish that I had a better game group around here that I could play that with regularly.
I 100% empathize with you on that remark. So
yeah, for sure. But actually, speaking of that game day, I'm going to pick your brain, Patrick. I want to look at your shelves behind you. I've been thinking about how different people that I know gravitate towards different, not just a game, but like weights of games. And so I'm looking at your shelves here, okay? And I would argue that there are almost no games on your shelf that qualify as quote unquote heavy, with the possible exception of Aura et Labora. Oh, I just can't see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I would say Aura et Labora is reasonably heavy. That's not a light game by any stretch, but like nothing else.
It's like on this shelf when Doris set it up, like I think this is all small card games and smaller boxes.
And there's the Friedman Freeze like Hall of Fame.
My Friedman Freeze and my signed Fresh Fish and stuff like that. So yeah,
I would say they don't get a regular rotation here. No, definitely not.
Like the game that the reason that I brought this up is because of Futuropia on Chad's shelf. I played that at Chris Ray's thing, and I learned it so that way I could be the one to teach it because nobody else had gotten a chance to learn it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned it and then taught it with my first game, which is less than ideal, right? Like you never want your first game to be the game where you're also responsible for teaching everybody else. But I liked it, but was not blown away. Obviously you've played it, Chad, I'm assuming, since it's not in the shrink.
I have not played this copy.
Okay, but you have played the game
last spring.
Okay.
But I liked it enough that I said I wanted to get a copy. So.
Okay. Patrick, have you played it?
Futuropia?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Okay.
I mean, I like his stuff, but I just
never
rushed out to get it.
But I feel like he is. So I feel like every game designer has sort of a narrative arc to their design style, right? Like they peak early or they peak late, or they find, like in the case of like Uwe Rosenberg, we've been watching his design style change, right? Like he started with Bonanza and then got heavier and heavier and heavier in farming games. Then all of a sudden said, hey, I've gotten as heavy as I want to be. Now let's make light stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so like the last couple games of his have been significantly lighter than everything that came before them, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like Friedman Freeze is sort of has an interesting but different arc where his games, like he feels like he peaked at Power Grid. And then everything after that has been sort of, well, that was okay. But some of them have been like just not good. Like you also have 504 on your shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue that 504 is abjectly terrible. And I wanted it to be amazing, but I think it's not good.
Well, the thing about 504 is not that the game is great. It's kind of like, I don't know if you follow video games, like when Quake 3 came out. It wasn't that Quake 3 was a fantastic game. It pushed the limits of what you could do in a game engine.
Yes.
And I think 504 is that, using the whole component system to say, hey, we can take different modules and plug them in at whim and have a playable system outside of it.
See, but Reiner Knizia has been doing that same damn thing for at least 10 years because he hasn't come out with a single game that you can't clearly point to, hey, this is a part from this game and this game. Look at what he did is he took parts in these two other games that he made and he turned them into one game.
But that's,
like the only difference is
one module. Yeah, this is taking all the modules, making a modular game system. So.
No, I get that. I owned 504. I tried getting that to the table a number of times. I guess my argument is like, I feel like Knizia did it better because he's monetizing every possible iteration of modules as opposed to Friedman, who's like, here, watch this. We could just put a bunch of shit in one box and some of it'll be great and some of it'll be crap and cool. It's like an art piece. And I've argued before that I think board games are a form of art anyway, but this is like that crappy concept art card that everybody knows nobody's actually going to buy, but has like two badass things about it. It's that the board game version. Is that fair? I feel like that's fair.
I mean, a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, I there are certain games I did enjoy more than others. There's a lot of good pick up and deliver games in it. I like just because I like pick up and deliver games.
Wait, hold on, stop. How many different of the 504 possible combinations did you actually play? And hang on, before you answer, don't answer. Shut up. Before you actually answer, in the chat, place your bets right now because I'll bet you it's an obnoxiously high number, and I want it in writing.
Did Chad play?
That how many different of the 504 iterations in that game? Because for those of you that don't know, that box has theoretically 504 combinations of mechanics that you can smash together in order to make a game. How many did Chad play? What do you think? I'm going to type my guess in here so nobody can say that I am gaming the system later. Chad, you're not looking, right? Don't lie.
No, I can't see Chad right now. I need to figure that out.
No, don't figure that out. Answer first. All right, so we've got it. Answers are coming in the chat room. How many different iterations have you played?
I've played about. I don't know an exact. I'd say about 10. Basically, I went through the pick up and deliver thing
Alrighty.
because I really liked that, and then played with the different victory mechanic conditions, and then I played with the different opening conditions, just to see how it would vary it off. And
Okay.
there were some good ones, and there were some not so great ones, but it was
Right.
it was fun exploring that space. You know.
So in Price is Right terms, none of us get to go home with the grand showcase because none of us were
Nobody gets
closest.
about 10. I thought I spilled that when you first.
We were not
Wow.
closest without going over. Yeah, we
Uh,
were. Amberjen thought you'd played approximately 274 of them, which
Yeah.
I feel like is not.
I don't think anybody alive had played actual. Well, there was somebody that had
This is
played.
actually. Here's actually an interesting question. Do you
I bet
think
you
Friedman
$1
Freeze?
if you went onto the forums. There's somebody that's played all 504.
You think so? All right, I will take that bet,
I
sir.
bet you $1.
I will take that bet. You find in the forums if there is somebody that's claimed to have played all 504 of them, I will PayPal you 100 United States pennies right on the spot. But I don't think that's the case because I don't think anybody
in wampum and Sanskrit.
As a matter of fact, I don't think Friedman Freeze has played all 504.
I don't think he has either. I think we asked him, or he said it in an interview that he hasn't.
Yeah. I cannot imagine. First off, if you can get 504 any game, including the games you played as a kid, if you can honestly say you played any board game more than 500 times, you are a damn liar. My humble opinion. Maybe like professional chess and Scrabble players. I might give it to them, or Go, or backgammon, or poker. That's it.
I've played Onerm about 500 times, but I qualify that by saying because of the app, I've played it.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Did you find somebody on? Are you gonna send me $1? Patrick?
I'm looking right now. Nope.
You're gonna be sending me
appears to
$1.
be.
Oh, he's looking that up.
Alex
I'll talk about some more
Alex
games.
Lemonade has played it 70 times.
Alex,
That's not 504, pal.
No, it's not.
What are you showing me, Chad?
Okay, so by the way, this Crazy Race, the coolest part is made by a game named Alessandro Zucchini.
Outstanding. You're bringing that to BGG so you can teach us, right?
I just brought it back from BGG. I think there's still a copy in the library. I'll verify.
The other BGG dipshit, the one that I'm going to. November, damn it.
It's the same library.
But just so we're clear, the reason I'm swearing so much is
I think we had 2 copies. But anyway, okay, so new for Origin this year. I just picked this one up. It's Ringmaster. It is put out by Ultra Pro. Also, if you notice, it's done by Stoneblade. It's a game by Justin Gary, who you all may know who did Ascension. Basically, this is a game. If I were to describe it, I would say if it's what Red 7 and Love Letter had a baby.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a very, very light card game. It's got some cool art on it. That's got that old art style that looks like an old
vintage
poster. Basically, the concept is you start off much like Red 7, not knowing what the goals of the game are. You shuffle out 3 cards each person. You play 1 card unless a rule on the card will modify it. At the end of the round, if you have more than 6 cards, and you discard back down to 6, and then the game will end after that. You'll have things like, hey, if I have 3 ring circuses at the end of the game, I win. And you're just going around collecting that. Or if you have like 5 attractions or something like that, or if you have a bunch of sideshow things, you can win the game. And it's all about the manipulation of the cards on the table, drawing extra cards, penalizing other people. So yeah, it's very, very light. Actually, the retail on it is like $9.
Really?
And, yeah, and it comes with a card. It's got a little leather. It's got a little travel bag for it.
So they definitely saw Love Letter and like, hey, look, we could do that.
Yeah, I personally, I 100% agree. I think they saw that model working in terms of marketing, and then they said, well, let's do it. And then I guess Ultra Pro said, hey, let's run the box.
I'm in. I love Letter is probably, well, actually, it's guaranteed. It's in my top 100 of all time. One of these days, I'm going to break down and do a real top 100 list like every other cool kid's YouTube channel does. But Love Letter has been in there for a while. I've never played the big fancy version that has like 2 sets of all the numbers so you can mix and match because I don't care that much. I don't come to Love Letter to have like a ton of ooh, let's make it super gamery. So like I played Lovecraft Letter, and I felt like a waste of everybody's time because it took all the joy and simplicity of Love Letter and sucked it out and turned it into this insane, holy shit, there's 3 versions of everything, and I have to worry about having these counters and this. I don't want that.
I did get caught up in the whole Love Letter thing, and so I own like 2 copies of base Love Letter, and I've got the premium edition and the Kanai Factory edition, and I think I own the Batman Love Letter. So I've got like 4 or 5 copies of Love Letter, which is dumb on me.
But no, it's not dumb. If that's the part of the hobby that you enjoy, go for it. I would say that if we look at your room that you are in, which is just your streaming room, not your all of my games live here room.
Right.
I would say that buying lots of games is sort of your jam.
Yeah,
that might be kind of a thing that you do, Chad.
We got that one. There's that one. And then
hang on. Let me focus on your camera so that way we can. Okay. There you go. Okay. Holy shit!
So that is this thing, because basically the first room was the main room. We ran out of space, and then here's the room behind me. And when we was in Canada this year, I picked this up for free. The store gave it to me for free because they were about to get rid of it, and I love that game. And then over here we've got that over there, which is more small games. So yeah,
Jesus.
And yeah, so that is that's our streaming room and our secondary storage room.
This just in, ladies and gentlemen, Chad buys too many games.
Yeah. The other game I'll talk about.
Or buys the enjoyment of the hobby, depending on how you look at it.
Imaginarium. I don't know if you're a Casala fan.
Ish.
I am.
I wouldn't say that I'm a fan. I think I enjoy his games more often than I don't.
This one we really, really enjoyed. I've played it probably about 4 times. Predominantly 2-player. I played 1 3-player game. So it basically is it's a engine. Well, with Casala games, you got a lot of engine builder, but it's basically you are in a dream building. You're dreaming and you're building these weird dream machines to produce charcoal and copper and all this other stuff to meet these goals. And you got these factory workers that work with you. But it's basically, it uses, if you remember in 5 Tribes, if you ever played 5 Tribes 2-player, where you have the 2 tokens, and
I have not.
Well, in 5 Tribes, if you're playing 2 players, you play the pink and the blue, and you've got 2 tokens, and they go out around the board.
Okay.
In the 2-player version of Imaginarium, they use that system. Instead of 2 tokens taking 2 actions around, there's one which is, we call it the cock block token, where it goes off and you pull your cock block token to like ban anybody from going to this spot, and then you'll follow up with your hammer and you'll go where you want to go. And I just think it was really, really cool how he implemented that. It's sort of like you could see his mindset go from 5 Tribes into this. But anyway, it has money manipulation where as you go through and buy these machines, and you have to have resources to repair the machines, to make things to hit goals of like, hey, in my dream I have to have 6 machines, or I have to have 4 level 3 machines, or stuff like that. And the machines will give you resources, and then you have the workers that help you, that let you go do various extra abilities, and you buy those with the money that your machines produce. And then it's a race to 20 points, so you usually knock it out in 30-45 minutes, which is my sort of, for a 2-player game, that's a really good sweet spot. Yeah. Then it's got really neat little crafted miniatures in it. That's got neat little insert in it. It's a Bombix game, so it's going to have it's got a nice little insert in there and some nice container to put like the playing piece, not the playing pieces, but the resources come in a sweet little. The player boards have a little clock that moves.
What?
Yeah, and so on every turn you take 2 actions, and the arrows will point to 2 various actions, and they have to be adjacent to each other. So that sort of limits you on what you can do.
I want to play this game real bad.
And the cool thing is
the cool thing. You've mentioned like 3 cool things.
And it's got these neat little player pieces that fall out, and then
hold it back up again.
The playing pieces. They're molded plastic, so you could theoretically paint them if you were really, really hardcore about it. The black one fell out.
That's gorgeous anyway. Screw painting.
And then
That's already cool.
then this box where it just holds, and so all that is that just comes off, and you got all your pieces in there, and that just sits on the board and that way you don't need bolts. So
Holy shit!
Yeah,
this is awesome. Is this out? This is out now, or
I picked this up at Spring. I think on the preview it said that I think what is it? Super Meeple or not Super Meeple? What is it? Surfing Meeple is distributing this out for Bombix right now, so you can get it there. So, but I would imagine it would be like in most retail outlets pretty soon, if not now. So,
okay, Chad. I'm going to tell you two things right now. Number one, board game companies need to hire you to be their hype man, because every single time you tell me about a game, I'm not kidding, and I'm not being facetious or and not exaggerating here. Every single time you get passionate about a game and we pull you onto the show and you pull out like 4 boxes of awesome and you're like, look at this amazing thing that I found, and I have never heard of any of it. Like, seriously, somebody needs to hire you to just be a hype man.
Heard of Bruno Cathala? I mean, hello.
Yeah, yes. Smart ass. I know that I've heard of Bruno Cathala. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there are a lot of games released on the average month in this industry.
The weird thing about Imaginarium is it's not, for America, it's a new game. For Europe, this is it's actually kind of an older game. I think it was released like right after Essen, like between Essen and Nuremberg, I think. I remember we covered Board Game Geek covered it really early this year when we had when they brought them on. We did the thing for it. So yeah. But it's cool. It's worth, if we were to scale it, I would say it's a play it with the heavy emphasis for you to play it on. If you're a Cathala fan, you like Five Tribes, you really need to check it out in terms of playing. And then you can make that determination if you want to buy it or not. So it's really high quality stuff. So, but it may not be for everybody. So because there is like a little wonky.
That caveat could apply to literally every game.
It is, but I don't want to be that person to say, go buy this, and then you buy it and not enjoy it. So,
well, Chad, just so we're clear, first off, that little like nugget of ethics you have hiding in there at the very end takes you out of the running to be a hype man for basically any board game publisher. So sorry about that. Yeah. And it's all right, buddy. And secondly, we have just leaned into the idea that we tell people to buy shit on this show. So at this point, this is your safe space, pal. Like, you are allowed to tell people to spend money on this show. This is what we do. You're all right. We acknowledge.
Okay, I've got 2 more games I'll show you.
Holy crap. All right, but make it fast because I got to get out of here.
Okay, square off. You will not find this in a lot of places. 1972, Alex Randolph. I played that this week. It was really good.
Oh, these old games. Who plays old games?
Oh,
you do, you weirdo.
So look at this, man. So
that looks awesome.
It's 2-player only. So you remember when you were a kid, you had those little slide puzzles?
Yes, I hated them. I'm suck at them.
Well, so this is basically, you have a plastic thing and there's numbers around the edges here going from 1 to 6. And in the center, there's little trays that go A to E. The one person will pull a tile at random. The other person rolls a dice at the same time. And then you race to slide the puzzle. And if you look here, it makes a little trail and you have to connect the number to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an Alex Randolph game, but he was never credited for it. Globally, it's not on the box because it was 1972 Parker Brothers. Bought it for $5. It was crazy. And then look,
I think we finally found the first game that Chad's tried to hype that I'm definitely not going to play. There you go. All right, what's the other one?
Mongolian Goat.
Oh, God damn it!
This is my copy of Mongolian Goat Rodeo. This is a custom copy. So this is so basically when you bought the last edition, Mongolian Goat Rodeo came in a box like this.
Okay.
And so here's my I'm going to see if this is your jam, Bill. Okay, number 1.
I already know that I'm playing it. I don't care if it sucks or not. But yes.
So Mongolian Goat Rodeo is a story-driven game. It's a narrative-driven game. It is not a heavy rule set sort of game. Okay. So in Mongolian Goat Rodeo, you have you choose a color that you want to play, and then you have several there is a goalpost that you have to go around to pick up a football and deliver it back to the starting location that you place randomly on a table just by throwing it down. So you have 3 Mongolian Sherpa riders of a color, and you play them on a table. And so the goal of the game is, so if Bill were to go first, he would say he has a measuring tape, because this is all organic on a table. Any sort of table works, any shape of table works. You take the ruler, you say, hey, I'm going to move this amount. I think it's like 3 or 4 inches that you move in a turn. And then if you come over here, you have to make an elaborate story or something like, hey, I want to pick up this football and run towards the goal. But I think I should get 2 extra inches on my movement because my guys have been drinking heavily before the whole game starts. And so here's where the group think mechanic comes in. So Bill has to choose somebody else at the table. Say if we're playing, he would choose Patrick. Patrick, in order to get this 2 extra, I have 2 dice here. What do I need to roll on the 2 dice? And so Patrick is the adjudicator of what you need to roll on the dice. So if Patrick makes it so, oh, Bill, if you want to do that, you're going to have to roll a 10 or 11, on 2 dice. Well, that comes around. So when Patrick wants to do something, it has to come back to Bill, and Bill's like, fuck you, buddy, 12. It's like that. But if you are a hard set, I need a very hard rules, I want it written down. I want it very mechanically. That is not, if you like the old sort of quirky con game that is just fun to just knock down and just laugh and have fun with, then this is your jam. So
okay. So I'm going to answer your question on whether this is my jam by saying this. I'm driving to BGG Fall, and I fully intend on bringing a bottle of really good scotch along with me because I'm driving. All right. So, and what I intend is, I don't think I'm allowed to make Patrick try and drink, but I'm definitely going to try and drag Patrick into this game along with you and as many other fun humanoids as I can. And I think that this needs to be a fancy gaming night kind of game.
And the thing is this is so out of print because it was just one guy that made it, and he just doesn't make it anymore. I mean, I'm sure he could license it out, but I don't know the global market for this. I don't know if it was so many things out. I don't know if you could do this anymore.
I'm actually pretty sure that at this point, kitschy is probably going to get you more eyes than just being a really solid Euro. I think we're getting to the point now, or at least it feels like it to me, where we are so saturated with good games that aren't special that something weird like that would probably do fantastic. My humble opinion.
Yeah.
My humble opinion. Patrick, Patrick, are you gonna Mongolian goat rodeo with us?
Oh yeah. That sounds great.
I'll put little special gold coins. So it's like if you want bonuses to your rolls, you put the gold coins in, and you can make up a little story how do you get more gold coins and tons of dice. So yeah, I just pimped this copy out so I take it to shows or whatever. And then I found Mongolian art on Google, and so that's why I got the cover of this. So it's like Mongolian street art. I don't know how that works.
All I'm going to say is that not only are we playing this at BGG, but there's a very real chance that I'm going to bring a camera, and this is going to be its own after, because I feel like this is the kind of thing that we could have way too much fun with. All right, my mug of scotch is empty. By the way, for those of you that stayed towards the end, whenever you see me drinking out of this particular mug, it always has an adult beverage in it. Just throwing that out there. So there's your clue.
An adult beverage.
My mug is empty. So say that again.
I said an adult beverage like Pepto-Bismol or milk and magnesia or something like that.
No, Ensure. No, it's Ensure.
Sure.
I'm an old man now, man. I got to take care of myself. So, all right, I have to go change my adult undergarment. So, thank you very much, gentlemen. Chad, we're gonna start dragging you onto the show regularly. This is probably just gonna happen. Start blocking off your Monday nights, damn it.
I was gonna be on the show. I didn't show up for the first half of the show because I was asleep. I fell asleep on the couch after I was eating popcorn, and I just got home from work. I was eating popcorn, just watching YouTube, and next thing I know, my wife comes through. Hey, what are you doing? And I'm sitting alone in a dark room. And I'm like, what the hell I'm doing?
That, sir, is the first clue to how to know when you're getting older. When you start randomly falling asleep in places that aren't normally intended for sleep, that's the clue. Chat room, thanks for hanging out. We love all of you. Hey, don't forget, damn it, I want emails on Spiel predictions. I got a whopping 2 from last week, which sucks. Get on the stick, people. The Cubist podcast at gmail.com. We want your guesses on what you think is going to win Spiel. If you get Spiel and Kenner Spiel both correctly, you might win a game. At the very least, you win bragging rights, and you will earn my unconditional love for having actually participated in one of our stupid contests. And it's Patrick shipping it, so you know it'll actually happen. Just throw that out there, because I'm an idiot. So, all right, Chad and Patrick, you are both amazing. I love you both very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy having an adult beverage on me tonight.
See ya.
Peace out. Bye.